All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Haikyuu, Season 4, Episode 4. All right.
Okay.
Tsukishima wants to talk to Hinata.
Yes, and this is post Tsukishima having his moment. So is it the same old thing that he would usually talk to Hinata about, or is it something different?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that he's observant. Tsukishima is aware that Hinata is having a little bit of a impassioned moment despite being a ball boy.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing that they could probably get out of this is that Tsukishima will have some way that he will connect a little bit with Hinata.
Sure.
Even if it's just something really small, it might lead to some some questions and or some typical Tsukishima monologuing. But I see it actually potentially as being a really good thing. And if it leads to that would be fantastic.
Yes.
Kageyama is adjusting or struggling to adjust in the presence of players that are amazing, but also
they're not Hinata. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you have to build new synergies and such. So that'll be a thing. Really liked having Ushijima and Tendo with the whole
their little commentary
there. Yes, given that we are at Shiratorizawa Academy, we had some fun engagements there.
Oh, definitely.
Quite good.
Yep.
Karasuno, though, practicing, and this was something that I found that was rather cool, is that the team that they were practicing against was a team from like back in season 1, apparently. So there's always like little callbacks and things, and seeing that Karasuno is still like working really hard, despite not focusing on their main cast of characters and such. We're seeing things like Tanaka working on his serves, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, still in the training stuff, y'all. So, I want to see what this Hinata Tsukishima conversation is about.
Yeah, me too.
So without further ado, y'all, let's get into this. All right, everyone, be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion. Hey, Takadesi.
Oh man, this episode.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so
that was the theme of the episode, was everyone just kind of relaxing and maybe taking it a little bit easy. You had everyone coming at Kageyama with all this kind of energy, and he's just like, okay, like, yeah, I got you. And they're all like, the hell? I thought he would be prickly, I thought he would be a bit of a problem, but he's actually kind of a decent guy. What the heck?
Did you beat Ushiwaka? Yep. Wait, so was he playing not well or something? No, he seemed
to be pretty good.
Doing, bringing his best. Then, was he stopped or something? Yeah.
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah. I love it. I love it so much.
Man.
It's Kageyama's side of things, is he's dealing with all these players that almost have a bit too much ego.
Yes, they're
reminding us a lot of how Kageyama used to be.
Oh, totally.
Or maybe not necessarily specifically Kageyama, because the setter that they just introduced, he's probably going to be the one that's the closest to actually what Kageyama was like. The other ones are almost like heightened versions of the almost the shadow personality of a Karasuno member. So you have someone like Tsukishima being showcased in what was his name? Kiyumi?
Kunimi, but that was in
No. Kiyumi. Sakusa.
Oh.
Yeah. He was kind of being like, oh, I'm so cautious and whatever. Well, he wasn't really necessarily Tsukishima, but then you had the new guy with the white hair and everything like that. He was basically like Hinata, but like a little bit more ego involved in this. Where he was like, what? Why are you not freaking out about me, man? Like, come on, why are you just like, and then like I loved that bit because his energy reminds me of Hinata, and yet the way he's coming at kind of Kageyama in this like not aggressive way, but just kind of impassioned way that's a bit like combative. He's like, oh yeah, okay. I mean, sure, you're freaky, but I mean, you're just kind of a great reference point too.
Yeah, it was. That was just great, because the thing is that with we haven't really seen him talk before this, right?
Right.
So and given with the whole training camp and everything, and the fact that they're going to nationals, there's going to be so many more characters that we're going to be having in these fights.
Yep.
So introducing. They're fights. Let's be real. They're doing battle. But so introducing all these characters and making us care about them so that when they're on these teams, we're invested in what's happening and we can see the characters, and not just be invested, but see them grow over the course of their journey. That's going to be very tough to do. So doing things like this is super important. And I don't know why I'm surprised by this, or even really impressed by it, because this is standard fare for Haikyuu. This is what they do all the time, right? And yet it's just so great. Like, oh man,
we now have essentially all the problem children singled out as far as in the powerhouses of the national scene, which will probably be people that they would go up against. And I love that all of them were somewhat likable. Yes. Despite being kind of prickly themselves.
Oh, definitely.
Whereas there was one of them, though, that I almost want to say they eerily tried to make him seem like Kageyama here. Now, I might have passed his scene. It might have been a little bit earlier. But, he says, I thought you were going to be pretty prickly at first, but on the court, you're a goody two-shoes, aren't you? And when I get the vibe from here...
That smug look on his face.
Look.
I just want to wipe it right off.
Well, okay, this guy reminds me, though, of what would happen if you took Oikawa and you basically gave him an upgrade in terms of the directness. Like, Oikawa, I feel like, would be way more passive-aggressive, if anything. Like, he's if anything, going to complain to his team. But this guy, he singled out Kageyama, went to him specifically, and poked almost directly at the thing that he grew into, basically, being a good team player.
Yeah.
And this guy's probably really good. He can back up probably the fact that he is like that. But what if you had someone that was like Kageyama, but they never had to have their team call them out on being the king of the court? Right. They basically just demanded their team meet them at their level.
Right, and they were able
to do it.
Yeah.
Now, that might be that they weren't able to meet it perfectly, but they were called up to that level, so they did it.
Right.
Their team would be ridiculously good. Yeah. But their personality wouldn't change.
Right, exactly. They wouldn't grow. Yeah.
And the way that Kageyama legitimately looked pissed, hearing that, as if he was like, do you have any grounds to put that on? Because I'm starting to really not like you.
Well, and it's insulting the thing that is so precious, right? Because he has worked very hard to get to this point. He's swallowed his pride time and time again so that he can be the best player for his team. Right?
And that might be a point that they get across here, is that Kageyama had to do that not necessarily just for the personality stuff, but because his team is not that good.
Right. And
his team is good in certain parts, but compared to his level...
Right, when you're talking about Olympic training type stuff.
Right, they're not Kageyama level. There are people that do Kageyama level things at points. There's specific times where Hinata, Tsukishima, Asahi, freaking Nishinoya, they'll do things where it's okay, that was pretty incredible. But for Kageyama's level, for the others at this level, that might be what they end up getting into, is it's hey, Kageyama, all that stuff where you demand more of your players, the reason why they did that to you was just because they wanted to hold you back or something like that.
Sure, and in a lot of ways, I can see it being something where him demanding more of the players in this context makes a lot of sense because now, granted, within the context of the training camp, they might not be able to adapt that fast, but I could definitely see something where it's you're dealing with the best of the best, cream of the crop. Yeah, push them. See how far they can go,
Right. Obviously, we need to build synergy and stuff, and you need to communicate that you're still going to be doing these things. But that was something that was brought up with Sakusa, is that Kageyama was saying, hey, you're kind of holding back. You're not actually going out as far as you could be. In some way, you're taking it easy. Right. That, I think, was the main point of this whole episode, was how all the characters were somewhat taking it easy, and then there were other characters that would call out others on, you're taking it kind of easy, aren't you? And they would have different responses to that aspect there. Like
Sure.
Tsukishima saw that Hinata was trying to take it easy, but he's like, I can't hold back all this energy. I want to watch. I want to observe. I want to do everything. So he's doing like the little split step, and he's, he's moving and grooving. And Tsukishima's like, okay, dude, like you can come join us if you want for non-scheduled practice stuff. And he's like, thank you, like, oh my gosh, and that feels so good. But Hinata's like the last person in this show that you would expect to have a take it easy kind of attitude.
Yes.
And I think that this is something that's rather cool because you took a character that was, I think he was showcased in both season 1 and season 2 between Seijo and Abujasai and Karasuno, because I'm pretty sure it was more in season 1 where he was a thing of where his stamina became more of a problem in the latter half of the match, whereas in season 2's match against Abujasai, if I remember correctly...
Are you talking about the 2-meter guy?
No, Kunimi. I'm talking about Kunimi.
Oh.
Take it easy, boy. He saves his energy. He doesn't like being told to go all out, Number 2 worst liked phrase.
Yeah, he's Abujasai.
He's Abujasai. But the thing about him was that I think... I'm trying to remember if he was focused on as much in season 2, because that was when Mad Dog Chan joined the team. Because there were moments where Karasuno, I believe, in both matches was having a stamina issue, and then Kunimi started playing like extra hard at specific moments, and it became a problem. But for someone like Hinata, who has limitless stamina, he's never really had to think about that, except for maybe a couple moments where he's like punching his legs, like
Right.
So that was just really cool.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, you described it in a fantastic way, of the fact that this episode was very holistic and that it all touched on that idea of taking it easy. And just the fact that Hinata suggested that, by the way, shows huge growth on his part.
Because he was observing that as a good thing.
Right. He was observing that as a good thing, and up till recently, he absolutely would not have seen that as a good thing, right?
This is Mr.
Yeah. Right. So that was great, and I loved the music that they did when I can't remember the 2-meter guy's name. But
we can get his name again.
Yeah,
okay.
But that was fantastic from the standpoint of him just realizing, okay, don't stress it out too much. That's right. There are things that I can do. Hyakuzawa, yeah.
Hyakuzawa, okay. He was actually, if I remember correctly, someone was bringing this up, that he was the player who was trying to carry his whole team.
Right, and he couldn't.
In the first season, because he was 2 meters, and they just kept feeding things to him, but he still wasn't technically skilled.
Yep.
Yeah. So now he's getting, at least some recognition, because physically he has... some
the
advantages. And
like
Hinata chewing him out by being like, "Hey, no, you're 2 meters tall. That is the most bestest, ultimate, talent ever." Like, it just.
Do you know what it reminded me?
And they're
of?
like, "Hey, he's cheering him up. Why are you doing that?"
Yeah.
Like,
it reminded me of in Good Will Hunting when Will is not appreciating his gifts, right? And then his best friend is talking to him, and he's like, "You don't get it. I would kill to have what you have."
Yeah.
He's like, I know you don't think much of it, but for the rest of us, how dare you belittle it so much? Right? Like, you have no idea what you've been given. And I feel like it was that, but like more positive and just generally like bubbly and wholesome and stuff from Hinata. But like, and it's a great thing because how often do we basically short sell ourselves on our own gifts, right? On whatever it is that we have a knack for, we're really good at, because we see all our flaws and then we don't actually acknowledge our strengths. Right? And because of that, our strengths never get the chance to shine.
Yeah, and that's what Hinata was talking about. He's like, hey, like, I get it. Without Kageyama, I'm just a little, emphasis on the little, inconvenienced, because I don't get the opportunity to display all my stuff or what have you. So you need those kinds of people that can help give you the opportunity to showcase your awesomeness. And then in this case, the guy's like, well, I'm just 2 meters tall, and that's it. And he's like, what do you mean, just?
Yeah,
like, that was one of my favorite parts of the episode, because Hinata, like, oh, you know, freaks out. Just, what do you mean, just? Like, like the idea that, like, he goes and like lays into this guy with this rant of just, like, if I could have a killer serve.
Yeah, if I could pick between that and being 2 meters tall.
Or have, 2 meters, height, there. It's just like, I wouldn't even hesitate.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the idea that you can work on your serve, but you can't work on your height. There's these things that you can change, and there's these other things that you can't change. Now, what's really important about this, and I think is really important about this, is given that this is a sport, specifically a team sport.
Yes.
If this was something where it's mano-a-mano, one-on-one kind of sport, you can't build synergy. One of the things that a lot of people will see in sport dynamics or what have you is they'll see someone's athleticism and they'll be like, oh, their genes are just incredible. They'll have all these things about them and it's like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And then, you look at their high school photos and you go, maybe it's not the genes. Maybe it's actually the work. I mean, a lot of times it is. A lot of times it is. But there's other things. There's other things that go less into the quantifiably, based on their, what their gifts are, the things that they started out with. And one of them is synergy. The idea that there's a bond forged over the course of these team sports, the things that you do together, and it is actually a skill to work at, to be able to build those quickly. And Hinata here is building a bond with this guy just because of his passion. Now, I actually would go and say that this is his talent in a lot of ways, that Hinata doesn't know he's really doing this. This is an example of where Hinata's raw energy and emotion just captivates him, and he has to give all this stuff here, and it ends up being really helpful for the guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
But Kageyama, on the other hand, when he's trying to build synergy and stuff like that, this is actually a skill that he's developing. He is not that good at it. He is actually like trying to do his little things here and there and be like, hey, is my serve,
Right, he's very technical with everything.
Right, but you can tell based on where he was in season 1, this is something he did not get naturally. This is something that he had to watch people like Suga. He had to watch, other setters like maybe even Oikawa, figure out ways to do this. So I just love that we're bringing up talent and effort again as well. It's just a good theme to have in a
and just the idea of Hinata being in the position of ball boy, where he's essentially the one that's just supposed to support everyone else that's there, right? And because Hinata has, let's be real, he's had a bit of an ego, which is totally understandable. He wants to be the person that does the super cool spikes and whatnot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And here he's been taught a bit of humility by being the ball boy, right? And now that he's in this situation, he's able to help everyone else here in ways that he never would have been able to before, right? And that's something, like, the fact that all the other players are just standing there watching this happen, that's not an accident. That's not just a save on animation. If I were to see something like that happen, especially when it's the person that I've maybe been terrified of for, like, matches of my own or past matches or future matches or whatever, this would absolutely blow me away. Right?
I think it is blowing them away.
It is blowing them away.
When he says, like, I want to beat you.
Yeah.
Yakuzawa is looking at him like, wait, what?
You want to beat me?
Like,
you guys already did that.
Yeah, you guys already did that in season 1. Like, do you not remember?
Yeah.
And then the way that they kind of look back and they have this like stern but serious kind of look in their face as they're like, like they're being moved in that little bit of way by Hinata's actions here.
Right.
And then Hinata ends up saying, hey, I have a perspective to share with you here. And it ends up helping. This is something that I love that gets immediately rewarded with the commentary by the coach internally, where he's like, it's so simple and trivial. The idea that you can't basically account for your teammates being there to give their all at 100% of the time. So every once in a while, you go back to the basics and you basically take it easy, slow down the tempo of things in order to make sure that you're basically working with them instead of accidentally working against them. So when you're taking it easy, your teammates are able to take it easy too.
And then
this just shows the connectivity of the characters on the same team in volleyball, and it's just beautiful.
And then the fact that it's something where, oh yeah, that's right, he's able to remember, one, you're not alone. Two, because of that, and the fact that you're 2 meters tall, you set it up real high, you let your teammate take his time to set it up for you.
Yep.
Yeah, and he'll have it so far above the blockers.
Well, he wasn't told to do that, though.
Oh, no,
he just did a regular set.
No, but it's a regular set knowing that, you're 2 meters tall. Yeah, so that thing that you were just thinking like, oh, yeah, that's no big deal. No.
Yeah, in some ways, reminding someone, because they have so many gifts and talents that have been gifted to them, the idea of taking it easy might actually be something that not everyone can do as often as they can.
Oh, sure.
Because he has the gift of being 2 meters tall. You know, you look at poor Kunimi as he's like, this is bullshit. He's like, why am I even here? Why don't we just set 2 receivers and I'll just wait down there like, okay, please accidentally hit this off my face. Like, you know? Like,
because if he didn't have that 2 meter thing taking a bunch of time, it would be helpful for them to be able to calm down and act, coolly and methodically and whatnot. But they would also just give the other team time to prepare. But you can't prepare against something like that.
Not with 2 players. No. So it's really good. It's fantastic. I love the fact that Hinata was like popping in his little head as the audience, and he goes, "Hey, nice kill," just I love it.
And that high five was just great.
Yeah, that's a good moment here. So they're going to do their stretches, head on out. Kageyama has this look. Like, I actually want to say that because they're doing their stretches, he's not on the sideline. I think it's what it is that the practice is over. And Kageyama looks rattled here. Now that I think about it, they chose to focus on the fact that they drew him really intently here.
Yep.
There's no lines spared. Like it's very detailed.
His face is bunched up and taut.
His face is bunched up and taut. He's sweating because it's the end of a practice. But I also think this is one of the first few times where we actually choose to show that he is angry. He is frustrated. But if you look at his eyes and you kind of isolate the rest of his face, he actually looks a little bit down on himself.
Right.
He looks a little bit disappointed, not just in kind of maybe his performance, but something internally.
Yep. Right.
So I want to see him like make a mistake actually here.
Sure.
Not a mistake of where it's something that's like irrevocably like, changing or what have you, but something where this pressure of being in this environment gets to him just a little bit. And it's something where we get to see some really cool evolution change from him. Because Hinata was put into a situation kind of by his own choice. So
definitely.
He chose to be put in this environment where everything is kind of stacked against him.
Right.
And he found something good to come out of it. Kageyama's called up to an environment where he being a first year is amongst the gods of volleyball in his age area.
And how do you make someone like Kageyama grow in volleyball specifically?
In character.
When, he's already doing so well on both.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, in volleyball, he is one of the best setters we've seen.
Yep.
Oikawa is probably arguably a little bit better. But that's barely anything.
That's not even so much for the setting as it is for like the jump serves and
just a better player.
Right. A better with his team.
Better with his team, a captain. Oikawa's kind of the full package in a lot of ways, except for some personality issues. Kageyama has grown a lot personality-wise, but he could still grow tons more. I see him as being a fantastic team captain in 2 years.
Yep.
Can you imagine the character development when Kageyama's a third year? and like welcoming in first years with Hinata, like
and something that I could consider him. So something where I could see what because Kageyama looks rattled here, right? Now, when you're rattled about something, you usually don't get rattled by the things that you know aren't true.
Yeah.
Because they're not true, right? You know, so it's just, whatever. But when you think, oh, but that's kind of true. What if it was something where he's adjusted so much from being the king of the court that he isn't assertive enough with actually maybe pushing his team, right? And that's the whole thing of, you're a goody two-shoes. It's something where it's like, that's not a bad thing, but there is something where when we're getting to the 2% like difference stuff, that there's a way that Kageyama can get better.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if they'll end up doing that, but because that look of frustration seems like he's like there's something that's being brought into conflict that's more than just his technical volleyball abilities.
Yeah, definitely. Last thing I wanted to bring up is just that the coaches, assistants of Washijo for Shiratorizawa were mentioning that Washijo did this training camp in some ways, or what have you, maybe in response to the way the Karasuno Shiratorizawa finals match went, and maybe even directly because of his response to the way the final point was decided by Hinata.
They didn't show his face.
And they didn't show his face. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to be set up for a future bit there. Because I want a Hinata Washijo conversation to happen.
Yep.
And it's got to happen. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general. And you can also talk with Jake about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
That's right. I wrote a sci-fi novel, in case you hadn't heard. It's called Battle Lines, and it's really cool, and it's on Amazon. Link down in the description below. It's in both hardback and ebook. Go check it out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.